Hi, I'm Suzanne Crouch, Lieutenant Governor. Welcome to our Legislator Fireside Chats. And I have the honor and the privilege of having with me today Representative Phil GiaQuinta from the Fort Wayne area. Welcome.
Thank you. You're great to be here.
Yes, it's great to see you. We don't see each other too much anymore since you all are in the government center and the Senate is in the Senate. But tell me a little bit about how you got involved in public. How did you become a public servant?
Well, good question. I was recruited as an 8th grader to find as many volunteers as I could for my brother's campaign back in, 1979, I think it was. He was running for city council, and he served several terms on the Fort Wayne City Council. And then in 1990, he talked my dad into running for state rep, which I was totally against. I thought, you're 67, don't you want to go to Florida and retire? do those fun things. And then he ran. So 30 years later, I'm here because I took his place then in 2006 when he did step down. So just kind of being involved, being around it all the time, and having a real great appreciation for public service. And my parents always, taught us about, hey, you got to get back to the community, volunteer for things, get involved in public service, whatever that may be. And so this is kind of one way of doing it too.
So when you came to the General Assembly, because we served together in the House of Representatives, so when you came to the General Assembly, was it everything you thought it would be? Because you'd learned stuff through your father, right?
Yeah. I used to call him every now and then and say, "No, wait a minute, you didn't tell me about this. You didn't." He goes, "You know what? You're just going to figure it out on your own, and you pick up things as you go along." So, so a lot of it, I didn't get down there as much as you might think, and a lot of those early years weren't on the internet, so I didn't really know. So I think I would catch up with him on Thursday nights or Fridays when he would, home for the week and kind of get a rehash of how things went. But yeah, I think for the most part, there weren't too many surprising things really. I knew it was difficult, and this is how we're set up, difficult to get bills passed. It's supposed to be that way on purpose, and I think you were one of the first ones to call me, in fact, because after I get elected to work on a bill with you, and I remember that vividly. But yeah, so it's kind of gone, I think, the way I thought it might go.
Yeah, and so how, being a legislator in the past, how does that kind of stack up with being a legislator now in the General Assembly with COVID and all the challenges that we have? It's been different.
Totally different. And I think you can, nothing's the same as far as applying the Zoom techniques and all those things. But I don't believe we're necessarily set up that way. I think you form relationships, for example. Hard to do it when you're not together. And, particularly for our new freshman legislators, it's trying to get to know everybody. If we're all together at a lunch or something like that, that's when you kind of can have opportunities really to introduce yourself to other members and more experienced legislators and ask them questions and that sort of thing. So that's what's probably been the most difficult thing, is sort of just kind of being isolated from each other. And frankly, we're kind of isolated even among our own caucus members. We probably don't see as much because, when we go to caucus meetings, we're spread out too. We're spread out even within a meeting. So it's been a challenge.
Yeah, and I know that the House has the same challenges that the Senate has, because I'm president of the Senate and I'm standing up there watching the members and just being physically distant. It's hard for people to really be as engaged as they've been in the past, and so it's just made it challenging all the way around. But you got to pass a budget.
Right. Yeah.
That is, we talk about all the bills that may be passed, but the one bill you've got to pass is that budget bill. And certainly that is going to be a challenge, as it always is. But, COVID has certainly presented some real challenges, not just in the General Assembly, but I think in our own lives and how we live them. I'm kind of a social person, and I'm a hugger, and not to be able to hug people and not to be able to, have that kind of warm interaction has certainly made everything more difficult.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the things that we study this summer and legislation that comes up next year and the year after as a result of COVID, what the takeaways that we can get from figuring out, ways to make people healthier, because I think we'll see the underlying conditions that really affected folks where are we economically? I mean, there's just going to be a lot of things that we can learn coming out of this that we'll look at over this summer and coming up in the next couple sessions, I'm sure.
Well, and after this election, I told Governor Holcomb that I wanted to focus over the next 4 years on mental health and addiction, because I think the human cost of this pandemic is going to be huge and exponentially grow in the years to come. So I'd love to partner with you in that endeavor as we work to try to, improve every Hoosier's life. But in closing, can you share with our listeners something about Phil GiaQuinta that they might be surprised to know?
Yeah, I'm pretty boring, really. I'll be honest with you. But I'm an avid sports fan, obviously, and love playing golf and those sorts of things.
You're a golfer?
I'm a golfer, but I'm an IU's basketball season ticket holder. Season tickets to the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. We love our baseball team. We love the stadium. It wins all kinds of awards. When they built it and opened in '09, it really opened a lot of things up as far as development of downtown, the riverfront, and things like that. And so anything I can do to support our local teams, and it's just been really fun to watch the city grow, and the Tin Caps, and have been a real big part of that too. So come back up. I got season tickets. I'll take you to a game. So come on.
I would love that, but I bet you're pretty excited about the NCAA.
I'm totally psyched up for it. We're going to see what we can do to get IU at least one win. It won't be easy, but I think it's great. It's truly, we are the capital of March Madness, and can't pick a better city than Indianapolis. So perfect.
Well, thank you for being with us, and another great public servant who really has the heart and the soul for representing the people in his district, Representative Phil GiaQuinta.